Good morning and welcome to this week's pet pairing, which naturally is going to feature the Bridgerton palette. I'm going to start off with my Auric Glow Lust as usual. So the other day, after I had filmed my video and I went to edit it, I was looking at those pinky berry shades, and especially that deep raspberry shade, the baked one. And I decided that I kind of dig that shade and I don't mind how it looks on me. Usually shades which lean a little bit like purpley maroon do not look very flattering on me, which is the major issue I had with the Deep Space Divinity Quad. However, upon, second glance when I was editing this video, I realized that that shade leans a lot more raspberry and it has a lot stronger red tones than it has purple tones, which is what I think makes me look really tired, the purple tones. But the red tones really fit with my eye color, I feel like, because I have like brown eyes with, I think in strong sunlight you can see that they almost look like red brown. Let me take my concealer now, by the way. So I decided that I would like to give this eyeshadow a bit more of a chance to grow on me, so I should use it again this week. But with that said, I think we pretty much did most of what we could with it. As far as the Bridgerton palette alone is concerned, I think the berry layered with the astral looks beautiful, and it's definitely going to be a look that I would like to repeat. But we already did that. We have to move on. So I still want to play around with that berry shade, and I would like to sort of pair it with, other types of tones. Clearly from my clothing today you can tell we're going to go in a warmer direction. And I have sort of also like zoomed you in a little bit. So let me know whether you prefer this like more zoomed in angle for when we are applying makeup, or you prefer your more wider type of shot. I'm going to now grab my Estee Lauder Double Wear Nude Foundation. I'm going to shake it up a bit first. I figured now that I have found that MAC dupe of this foundation, I don't need to be sparing with it. I can just go ham and start using it a bit more and actually using it up, because it is after all a foundation that is already over 2 years old, and not that I really find that foundations go off that quickly. At least I've never had a foundation that went off super quickly. But at the same time I just want to use it up and move onwards to the MAC foundation, because it is also a very lovely one. I've been really switching it up with my face powders ever since I panned that Hourglass Mood Light Ambient Lighting Powder. So I can't decide on which one to focus, so I kind of rotate through all the three that I have open at the moment. So today we're going to grab the Pat McGrath Labs Loose Finishing Powder, which granted may not be my favorite, but it does really blur your skin and Photoshop all of your pores, so I can't really complain about that. And I think with this brush from Sonia G, the Smooth Buffer, I kind of like how it applies this powder, which is in a very light veil, so that it doesn't look too matte. Because the thing I don't really like about this powder is that if you apply too much of it, it kind of removes the little glow that you have from the foundation that you wear underneath. And I like the little glow from the foundation that I have underneath. I don't want to look completely matte, but I also really like that pore blurring effect. And as you see, I never really apply the powder here underneath my eyes. I like to keep my eyes very hydrated, very glowy, nothing mattifying on them. For bronzer today, I'm going to grab my Fenty Beauty Honey Glaze Cream Bronzer, because it is one of the warmer bronzers that I have in my collection, and I think it will fit this look really, really well. Oh gosh. Alright, and now we're going to be a little bit adventurous, because a couple of you asked me if I would be willing to use one of the two baked pink shades from the Bridgerton palette as blushes, and what do you know, I'm actually willing to give it a try. And I think I'm actually going to go with the deeper one to kind of match up with the eye. So I'm going to take this shade, which is called Love Match. And I feel like this formula is perfect also as a face powder. So I have no doubts that it will look nice. I'm just not quite sure about the color, because it has quite a bit of red in it. But let's just give it a try. Uh-oh, this is not looking great. It is looking super red. I may have over applied a little bit. Okay, I'm gonna go and buff this out a bit because I think I just applied a little bit too much. These are, after all, eyeshadows, so I'm going to grab a bit less for this side of my face. And maybe I'm just not using the correct brush with that. Maybe I should have just gotten something with natural hair that is a little bit more sparse. But it's too late for that now, so let's just be committed to the cause. Why does it look like I have a stripe here? I don't understand. Okay, I really like how this applied on this side of my face because I went with a bit of a lighter hand and it's more like a little raspberry veil on my face. Still not my favorite color. I might try the light pink at some point, but the raspberry I think we will just stick to using as an eyeshadow because I think it's really cute, but it's just not really matching with my skin tone very well. For highlighter, I'm going to take the Divine Rose highlighter because I think it's going to match the look really well. To finish out the face makeup, I'm just going to take my sponge, spritz a little bit of Fix Plus, and just melt the powders that I have a bit better with each other. Oh, and by the way, look what I dug out from the depths of my bag. This is the original Fenty Beauty Gloss, Fenty Glow. This is the shade Fenty Glow, which was the original lip gloss that they released like 2 years ago or something. And I stopped using that gloss after I bought my Pat McGrath glosses, and I just shoved it in my makeup bag, in my purse, to use, you know, on the daily when I want to, I don't know, reapply lipstick but it feels uncomfortable, or I never forget lipstick. I don't know why I thought that I would ever need this if I forgot to take my lipstick, because I never forget my lipstick. But whatever, the point is I had this in my bag and I have used it like 3 times since then. So I dug it out. I think it is up till here. And since I'm never actually going to use it as a gloss because I far prefer my Pat and Lisa glosses, I decided to kind of use it like a moisturizing lip product while I'm doing my makeup, and then just wipe it off and apply my lipstick. And I think this way I'm actually going to use it up because I've been enjoying having this like glossy moisturizing product on my lips before I apply my lipstick of the day. So I have good hope that I'm actually going to finish this and I'm not going to have to toss it, because that would be a shame. So now let's move into our eye look and the pat pairing of the day. I think I'm going to like just play around with like different colors from the 2 palettes. As you've already seen, we're pairing the Bridgerton palette with Divine Rose 2 because I feel like there are a couple of shades in here that I would like to try together with that raspberry shade. But the first thing I'm going to do is grab the Bridgerton palette and this lighter pink. And I'm going to apply the lighter pink through my crease, but I'm actually not going to take it all the way in. I will focus it here more on the outer part of the eye, because in the inner part I want to put something else. So I'm just going to apply this here and just blend it slightly upwards. And I'm probably going to build up the pigment a bit more later, but for now I'm just going to wipe my brush and go into the Divine Rose 2 palette and this peachy matte shade. And I'm going to pop that here in the inner portion of my crease. Wow, that applies with so much more punch because it's a matte shade. Those 2 baked shades are really very, very soft. You're going to get a very like soft wash. Bless you, Mona. You're going to get like a very soft wash of color with these shades. And they are also not the kind of shades that you can overdo. Like even with Pat's lighter mattes, you can overdo it very quickly. I'm grabbing a bit more from the pink shade now, by the way. You can overdo it very quickly just because they pack so much pigment from the get-go. But these 2 new baked shades, they are almost impossible to overdo because you really have to build them up a bit. Next, I'm going to go back into the Bridgerton palette, take my Worker Pro from Sonia G and the deep raspberry shade, and I'm going to apply that in the outer portion of my lid. I'm not going to use glitter glue because, as we established during my first demo with this palette, these 2 baked shades behave more like mattes than they behave as metallic shades, so they don't really increase in pigmentation when you apply a glitter glue. They just become darker and patchier, which is exactly what happens with matte shades if you apply a glitter glue underneath them, which is why I'm convinced that these shades are just not meant to be used like that. They're more meant to be used as mattes with a bit of shimmer, because that shimmer makes them just a little bit more flattering, I feel like, and more versatile. So I'm just going to pack this on like halfway through my lid, even 2/3 of the way in, because I really enjoyed how it looked on my lids the first time I wore it. I'm also going to slightly buff it in together with the pink. And now on the inner part of my lid, and for a little bit of layering, I'm going to go back into the Divine Rose 2 palette, where I actually want to apply this really beautiful like bronzy orange shade. It's one of my favorites in the Divine Rose 2 palette. And then I want to apply this Astral here, like in the middle, just a little bit, you know, over both lid shades to marry them together. And then probably I'm going to apply a combination of this shade and the champagne shade from the Bridgerton palette in my inner corners. I have to tell you, this is an eye look that is very much out of my comfort zone, because these are not necessarily tones that I would wear together. But I thought we should just try to do something a little different today. Now I'm going to apply the tiniest bit of this champagne shade from the Bridgerton palette in my inner corners before I layer the Astral from Divine Rose 2. And now I'm going to go into my Divine Rose 2 palette, take the Astral shade just using my finger, and I'm going to go pretty bonkers with that, because I think it would be very nice to see those beautiful like golden pink sparkles layered over the whole look. So I'm going to generously apply this over top of pretty much everything. And in this manner you're going to get a very subtle, you know, glimmer over these eyeshadows. However, I would actually like to see what happens if I apply the topper shade with a little bit of Fix Plus on it, just to see if I add a bit of opacity from the glitter, what the effect of that will be. Just playing around, you know. So I'm going to take the topper shade on my Sonia G brush. I'm going to spritz a bit of Fix Plus. And now I'm going to reapply, especially here in the center of the lid, where I want my lids to look very glittery and very wet. And I'm sure that if I shine a light on it, it will look very beautiful and very sparkly. And I think it fits both the raspberry and the orange shades so well. And it marries them so well with each other. For my lower lash line, I'm going to go back into the Divine Rose 2 palette and apply this gorgeous, more like purpley matte shade just here, because I think it will look slightly more flattering than the raspberry. It will give a bit more definition. I actually really enjoy how this look turned out. On my lips I did something super fresh and super easy, so I'm just wearing a lip gloss. This is the shade Blood 2 from McGrath, which has those like similarly very raspberry tones to it, and matches Love Match from the Bridgerton palette really well. The only thing that I don't think I was a super huge fan of was the berry shade as a blush on me, just because, yeah, I don't know, maybe it has to grow on me, but I feel like on my skin tone a shade like this looks a little bit like I have redness and like rosacea or something, instead of like a nice, you know, flushy cheek. Let me know what you thought about this in the comment section below. As usual, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!